When you have a doctor's appointment and the doctor pulls out a rubber hammer and smacks your knee with it, and you get that weird sensation and your leg suddenly jerks out, have you ever wondered why they do that? Why do physicians check reflexes? In fact, the question may come into your mind, what is a reflex? Today, I'm going to tell you the critical importance of reflexes, what they tell us, how they happen, why they occur, and why it's so important for a neurologist, a brain specialist, a nerve specialist like me to check and understand your reflexes. So, what is a reflex? A reflex is defined as an involuntary, automatic action that your body does without you even thinking about it. And a reflex is really the combination of 5 simple things. The first thing is that you have to have a stimulus, something that is going to trigger the reflex. The most common one you may have thought about is someone's got a hammer and they smash their finger with it when they're trying to hit a nail. Or you're walking through a dark room and you stub your toe on the edge of a chair or on the edge of a stool. This is the stimulus. When your body receives this mechanical stimulus, an afferent neuron, afferent in Latin means to add or to bring in. An afferent neuron takes that stimulus and brings it into your central nervous system from your peripheral nervous system. In fact, in the case of a hammer smashing your finger, it triggers a specific type of afferent neuron called a nociceptor, or the Latin word for a hurt. We call these pain receptors. The hammer strikes your finger. The neuron, the pain receptor, feels that mechanical force or senses that mechanical force, and it changes the mechanical force into a neuroelectrical impulse. It sends that impulse from the pain receptor in your finger all the way up and into your spinal cord. In your spinal cord, that pain receptor synapses or connects with a very specialized neuron called a spinal interneuron. This spinal interneuron for pain reflexes is very important. It is the link between the signal coming in with the pain and the action that comes out of your central nervous system or your spinal cord. It's also the neuron that incorporates other neurons into this response, like sending the signal up to your brain to register in your head that that hurts, that it's a painful stimuli. At the same time though, that interneuron synapses directly with an efferent or an exiting neuron. So let's summarize to this point. Hammer strikes the tip of the finger. Tip of the neuron sends the signal all the way into the spinal cord. It's a pain response. It synapses with the interspinal neuron that then tells the efferent exiting neuron to send a signal to the muscle itself. When the muscle gets the signal from the neuron in the neuromuscular junction, it causes withdrawal from the stimulus. This happens very fast, within milliseconds. Hammer hits the finger, your hand moves away. This is a reflex. It's an involuntary, automatic action that your body takes without you thinking about it. I mean, really, you smash your finger with a hammer, do you want to look down at it? See how smashed your finger is? Register that there's pain first, and then look back down and move your finger away from it? No, that's not how reflexes work. Reflexes are fast, they're quick, they're automatic. And in fact, there's reflexes that are even faster than these pain receptor reflexes. So it's important now for us to level up your game and help you understand not only a polysynaptic reflex, one that happens between more than 2 neurons, and a monosynaptic reflex. The knee stretch reflex that happens, or the deep tendon reflex or the muscle stretch reflex. That's the reflex that happens when you go to your doctor and he strikes your patellar tendon with his reflex hammer. Now, when your doctor hits your patella tendon with that reflex hammer, it stretches your muscle in your leg. That stretching sensation triggers an afferent neuron to send a signal directly to your spinal cord. In muscle stretch reflexes, there is no spinal interneuron. The middleman has been completely taken out of this reflex so that the signal goes directly from the muscle being stretched into your spinal cord and right back out to the muscle to cause a contraction. That is the reflex arc and pathway that's being tested when your doctor, when she strikes your patellar tendon with her reflex hammer. Stretch, contraction, no signal to the brain. It feels kind of odd when you get your reflexes tested like this. Well, now you know the pathway. Now you know the way the signal is conducted. The afferent neuron bringing in the stimulus into the spinal cord, the exciting or efferent neuron causing the response. So why do doctors do these then? What's the purpose of this? The purpose of these tests is really threefold. The first reason that we do it is to make sure that your nerves are functioning and working appropriately. These nerves that are found within your muscles of your legs, that travel all the way up to your spinal cord and then back down out to the muscles in your legs, are long nerves. They give us the opportunity as physicians to see if it is a normal response of your nerve, sending a signal to or from. So let's say that you have really bad peripheral diabetic neuropathy. Your diabetes has damaged the fine nerve endings that you have in your skin or in your muscles. These reflexes may be reduced. In fact, if your physician is really good at checking reflexes, they can pick up a huge variety of neurological or neuromuscular conditions just by checking your reflexes. Now remember, it's not just the nerves themselves we're checking. With the muscle stretch reflex or the deep tendon reflex, we're also checking the health of the muscle itself. How well and how responsive is the muscle? Is the muscle too tight, like in things like cerebral palsy? And is the reflex very dramatic? Is it spastic, very, very tight? Or is it more of a flaccid muscle reflex? Is it hypoactive, where you're not getting very much of a response at all? So it tells us about the muscle itself when the initial stimulus is applied. It tells us about the nerve or the neurons as they go to the spinal cord. But the reflexes also allow us as neurologists to be able to localize or determine where in your brain or your spinal cord a lesion might be, like a tumor or a mass, or where a stroke has occurred, or where an MS lesion or plaque may be residing. You see, that's why neurologists especially, and other doctors check reflexes not only in your ankles, an ankle jerk reflex, or in your knees, your patellar reflex. We also check them in your biceps and in your triceps, because these areas give us different levels of your spinal cord. C7 for a triceps reflex, further up for a biceps reflex, down into the lower back or your lumbar spine with your patellar reflex. So number one, it tells us how well your nerves are doing. Number two, it tells us how your muscles are doing. Number three, it helps us localize where in your body you may be having an issue. And you're right, reflexes seem to be really simple. You stub your toe, you move your toe right away. You smash your finger, you move it right away. It's exactly what we want them to do. But as a brain doctor and as a brain specialist, these reflexes, they mean a lot more. I test these multiple times a day, every day for my job. In fact, some people can present to the emergency room with weakness throughout their body. Weakness is caused by lots of things. Maybe somebody's been out in the sun too long and they're just fatigued. When I check their reflexes though, it can key me in to not only how well their muscle and their nerve and their spinal cord is working, but when the signal comes back, if that signal does not trigger the contraction or the movement away in the muscle, this leads my mind to a completely different set of neuromuscular conditions or diseases that affect things like where your nerve sends the signals to the receptors on the muscles themselves. So, next time your doctor checks your reflexes, deal with the feeling and know that they're really trying to figure out and to check and make sure that your entire body's healthy. I hope you've enjoyed this quick description and answer to what is a reflex and why do we get them checked? I'm Dr. Justin Chandler, a neurovascular neurohospitalist. Like, subscribe, don't forget to watch our other videos.